Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started now and share my screen. Um, okay, so hi everyone. My name is Felicia. I am a project coordinator at Cleveland Water Alliance. Welcome to our very last information session for Erie Hack, a water innovation competition brought to you by Cleveland Water Alliance, a water technology innovation cluster based in Northeast Ohio. And we're the ones that coordinate the program regionally. Overall, CWA's work is focused on the idea that we can drive our economy by valuing, protecting, and leveraging our natural resources. And to this end, we partner with key stewardship organizations, research institutions, utilities, and water-enabled industries to drive the growth of a robust ecosystem for water technology innovation. And that is where Erie Hack comes in. So ever since our very first Erie Hack in 2017 and the iteration in 2019, our vision has always been to bring together teams of creatives, coders, engineers, and water experts to create tech solutions to Lake Erie's biggest challenges. And we see it as putting our region's technical talent to work for our most precious natural resource. It's an opportunity to spur creative new tech solutions, to forge new connections, and to start building out a water tech ecosystem across the Lake Erie Basin. And it truly is a regional effort. So Erie Hack efforts in each of these focus cities are driven by a local team of anchor institutions in both the academic and entrepreneurial space. In the past, we've had events in all those cities in the US and Canada, and this year will be virtual, as everything else has been, but we've taken it as an opportunity. So typically teams are created within each of those focus cities, but with the virtual environment, people will be able to work across region and to gain new perspectives on Lake Erie's challenges. And here is the agenda that we are going to go through today. We're going to start with our challenge statements for this year, followed by individual registration, the competition timeline, as well as a few pitching tips. So starting with the challenge statements. These challenge statements were derived from a series of ideation sessions or creative idea generation sessions, which were facilitated by CWA and the NASA Glenn Research Center. In 2019, we had 7 challenge statements, and those challenge statements were created to provide inspiration and direction for participating innovators, especially around Lake Erie's most pressing problems. But for this year, we are broadening the statements to 3 key focus areas. And the first challenge centers around community water resources. So Lake Erie and its watersheds represent an invaluable natural resource. However, this value is not often felt to its fullest extent across Lake Erie communities. Public awareness of Lake Erie's role in supporting economic and social life across the region is low, which leads to increased neglect and pollution. Additionally, racial and economic disparities mean that affordability and environmental justice issues can prevent our most vulnerable communities from benefiting from the presence of our Great Lake. And I just want to remind you all that water is life, and so we want to make sure it benefits everyone. And for this challenge, teams are tasked to create solutions that cultivate public awareness of the value of water, meaningful water data, equitable water access, and/or community resilience. The second challenge centers around surface water quality. Lake Erie and its watersheds are more significantly impacted by human activity than any other Great Lake. This has to do with where Lake Erie is and how many cities are in the Lake Erie Basin. And these impacts are further fueled by a mix of long-standing challenges like agriculture-driven harmful algal blooms and industry-driven heavy metal pollution from manufacturing, as well as emerging contaminants like microplastics, pharmaceuticals, and PFAS. And so I just want to remind you all that Lake Erie is a great lake and we want to keep it that way. And so this challenge asks for solutions that address the danger of toxins, chemicals, and or other pollutants in Lake Erie, its watersheds, and or its surrounding communities. Finally, the last challenge centers around water and wastewater infrastructure, because we know that Lake Erie cities are old and have a rich manufacturing history. Their water infrastructure is no different. In many cases, drinking and combined storm/wastewater pipes have been left undisturbed since they were first installed over a century ago. Pipe failure and capacity challenges result in water leakage and combined sewer overflow, issues that are already made worse by increasingly frequent and extreme storms that are driven by climate change. And Lake Erie infrastructure is in need of an upgrade. And for this challenge, you would be tasked to develop a solution that addresses the financial, environmental, and or health impacts that population shifts and or climate change have on our aging infrastructure. So solutions typically consist of devices, processes, hardware innovations, and or digital tools. And next, we're going to go over some of the solutions that have made it to finals in the past. For the Community Water Resources Challenge, a solution can be something like Water Watcher, a Buffalo team from 2017 that came up with a texting, alert, and reporting service for real-time information exchange between utilities and residents without internet access. Around the Surface Water Quality Challenge, we have CC-Tronic, a 2019 Toledo team that came up with an IoT application for a system of smart and connected valves and filters to intelligently clean runoff from drainage tiles on farms. And finally, for the water and wastewater infrastructure, we have TACSO, a 2019 Cleveland team that came up with a 3D printed geodesic dome made of polymers to catch garbage that wind up in Lake Erie because of sewer overflow during storms. And as you can see here, it's not uncommon for solutions to address multiple challenges. Furthermore, these challenges aren't meant to restrict solutions. They're meant to serve as a jumping off point for inspiration. With that being said, if you have an idea that doesn't fall under these challenges, but is still focused on making Lake Erie better, it's still a valid solution. And one example is around invasive species. Lake Erie has an invasive species problem, and if there's a solution that tackles invasive species, we're not going to restrict it just because it didn't fall under our challenge statements. It's still a much needed innovation in Lake Erie, and therefore we would want to see it developed as well. Now we're going to go over individual registration. So here is the homepage for the Event Tornado platform, and it will be the home base for the competition. It's also where you register for Erie Hack. On the right side, you'll see the timeline. And as you can see, individual registration has been open for the past few weeks. And after this quick tutorial, I will provide a QR code so that you can register for Erie Hack if you haven't already. But to register as an individual, you click the register button, which prompts you to create an account. You can log in with your Google account, your Facebook account, your LinkedIn account, or any other email account. And you won't need a password for any of these, including the email option. You'll just have to click on the verification email, click on the link in the verification email each time you log in. So this is the default registration view from Event Tornado, which asks for basic information. But to finish registration, we've added a few questions to help participants start thinking about the challenges as well as the skills they'll need on their team to come up with a solution. And that was just individual registration. There will also be team coverage, which will open on team registration, which will open on September 16th during the Erie Hack kickoff. And that is when we will cover team registration, which I'll go through when we go over the competition timeline. So the information around the competition timeline can also be found on our Event Tornado page under the schedule section, as well as our website, eriehack.io. And this QR code actually leads to our Event Tornado page. But we're starting with information sessions, which you are all at right now. So thank you so much for being here today. And as I had mentioned earlier, kickoff will be on September 16th, and that will be the official opening date of team registration. If you attend, there will also be an opportunity to win an iPad. So be sure to register for the kickoff. You can find links to that on our website and Event Tornado. So after kickoff, we will have hacking time, which is time dedicated to creating your team, to get validation from mentors on your idea, and to practice your pitches. We'll have weekly programming to help you as you go along with the process of hacking and ideating. And this includes hack nights in the first 2 weeks, which will be hosted by our various partners. These hack nights will be an opportunity to directly meet with mentors, to discuss challenges further, and to meet with potential teammates. You'll also have time for one-on-one meeting with mentors, especially in the latter half of the hacking time period. And remember, these mentors aren't necessarily just there for feedback. They help CWA with the creation of mini challenges, which are more specific and more targeted challenges that fall under our 3 main challenges. If your solution is something that they are looking for, it's potentially an opportunity for ongoing collaboration beyond just Erie Hack. And our mentors typically come from city utilities, research institutions, as well as private corporations. And since hacking time leads to the creation of teams, which consist of 1 to 5 individuals, as well as general solution development, it'll culminate into the team formation deadline on October 15th. Then we'll have regional quarterfinals in each of the focus cities. Buffalo, Cleveland, Detroit, and Toledo will host quarterfinals virtually. But since teams are allowed to consist of members from across the region, we at CWA will place you in a quarterfinal based on where the members of your team are from. For example, if you're in a Buffalo quarterfinal, it will be because at least 1 member of your team is from Buffalo. At least 2 of the highest scoring teams in each quarterfinal will advance. There will be up to 20 teams that advance to semifinals. Semifinals will be hosted by Techtown Detroit, and it will be completely virtual. Similarly, the highest scoring team from each focus city will advance, as well as the highest 4 to 5 teams, regardless of city. There will be up to 9 teams that advance to finals. Finals will be hosted by Cleveland Water Alliance, and all of this will be done right before Thanksgiving on November 18th. Prizes will be $30,000 for the first place winner and $15,000 for the second place winner, as well as additional opportunities depending on mini challenges. Mini challenges will be released on a rolling basis as they get submitted by various organizations and partners. We will update our website. We are also hoping for a hybrid format for finals this year, but with everything going on, we are still unsure at the moment. We will update you as we know more, and be sure to check the website, our social media, and Event Tornado for more details. And again, the dates can be found on our website and in the schedule section of Event Tornado. And as another reminder, this QR code is set for registration on Event Tornado, which is already open. So just give a few more seconds there. Okay, finally, we're gonna go over a few components of the pitch. So for quarterfinals, the structure will be 5 minutes for your pitch, followed by a 3-minute question and answer from the judges. And then after the pitch competition, judges will score you based on our rubric, and they will deliberate to decide who will advance. For finals, the pitch will be 10 minutes instead of 5, and the Q&A section will be 5 minutes instead of 3. So generally, the components of a pitch include a story behind your solution, why your solution matters or its impact, and how realistic your solution is. How doable is your go-to-market strategy? So in the following slides, I'll give a slide-by-slide example of what this looks like. So starting with slide 1, you want to have a team name, and make sure you have a good one. This will be defined by how you brand yourself. You don't want it to be too long. Make it short and sweet, maybe a phrase. You'll still need to capture what you and your solution are about, and it needs to be presented in a cohesive way amongst your team members. So make sure you introduce yourself as a team and not just as individuals working together. The next slide, you'll want to cover the challenge statement you are approaching, but it's not literally a copy and paste of our challenge statement, because remember, our challenge statements serve as a jumping off point. So instead, frame the problem based on what your solution is addressing. This isn't something that you have to focus on because others will also be covering similar problems, and this could eventually get repetitive for the judges. Finally, remember that a few numbers around the problem you're focusing on will really help provide that framework. Next, you want to discuss how you are working to solve your chosen problem. And this is an opportunity to be impactful, to be surprising, but make sure that it makes sense. And this is further accomplished by the technical components of your solution. You want to make sure to summarize the key technologies you're using in your solution and explain how all the moving parts fit together to build that idea or solution. Give enough detail for folks to feel like they understand, they have a general understanding, but a deep dive isn't going to be necessary because after all, you only have 5 minutes, but be prepared because you could get asked about the details from the judges. Then we have the partnerships that fuel your project. So this isn't required, but it can really help validate the legitimacy of your project. It can be as simple as a list of potential partners or a deep dive into how 1 to 3 of your partners would work with you. This isn't limited to organizations, but can include residents, neighborhoods, communities, etc. This is really a way for you to show the judges how valuable your solution is. Next, we have the team makeup. And again, it's not required, but it can really validate the legitimacy of your project. It can be something as simple as pictures, names, and roles. You really don't have to go into much detail. Finally, and arguably the most important part, your closing argument. Summarize the problem and solution one last time. You really want to bring the narrative back together between the problem and the solution, and make sure that you connect the language used in the chosen problem, as well as that core innovation or your solution. And restate your team name because it's the last part of your presentation. You really want to make sure that the judges remember who you are. And that is our information session for today. Again, you can find more information about Erie Hack on the website eriehack.io, as shown in this slide. Here is our Twitter information around Erie Hack, along with the Twitter and website information around Cleveland Water Alliance. And Twitter is a great way to get updates around Erie Hack and CWA programming. I'm about to open the floor up for questions. You can leave questions in the chat or the Q&A function, but I've also left my email. So if you have any additional questions that don't get answered tonight, feel free to email me. So with that being said, what are your questions? How many people per team? So you can work alone, but your team can also go up to 5 people. Should a group of students from a university register as a team or individual? Great question. So right now you are all registering as individuals. And once team registration opens up on September 16th, you will have to register as a team. And so Be sure to tune into the kickoff for more information around that. If you can't make it to the kickoff, we'll send out a recording on how to register as a team. Sure, I can go back to the slide 3 description. Does the product have to be fully ready in order to qualify to pitch? No. We want to focus on the idea and the feasibility of the idea. That's why you'll have mentors, but you don't have to have like a fully functioning prototype. In fact, our winner from 2019, TACSO, only has a small version of his geodesic dome prototype. We're currently working on developing the much larger scale version that will be used with combined sewer overflows. So what if we have interests and related expertise, but not a particular idea? Should we still register? Yes, absolutely. Because just because you don't necessarily have a particular idea doesn't mean you can't contribute to a team in some way with your related expertise. And during our hack nights, we're hoping to be able to formulate ways to network with other people who are looking for team members or are looking to brainstorm with somebody. And make sure when you register for Event Tornado, go into the general chat, type out your expertise, and tell people that you're looking for a team. What are some other questions? Does it cost money to register? No, it actually doesn't. And there are only opportunities to win money. What are some other questions? And I'm really loving the networking that's going on in the chat. So a good start to Erie Hack, everyone. What do the winning projects receive? Okay, so the first prize winner will receive $30,000 in prize money, and the second place winner will receive $15,000 in prize money. And again, some mini challenges come with like prize money depending on the sponsored organization. So there are opportunities for more than the $30,000 and $15,000 as well. I'm also going to go back to the so the next question is, are you aware of a coordinator in Erie, Pennsylvania? No, but we are open to residents from along the Lake Erie Basin in general. And so those who are competing from Erie, Pennsylvania will be included in one of the quarterfinals one way or the other. The next question is, do we have to have knowledge and experience in coding? No, not at all. You just have to care about Lake Erie and you have, I'm sure everyone here has some way they can contribute if it's not in a technical way. There are also sometimes opportunities for project management, marketing, business development, and just all those other things. I'm sure coding would be beneficial for some of these solutions, but it is not necessary. What are some other questions? Okay. How have students participated in past challenges? Do they work as school groups with faculty members, or do they mix into other groups? It really doesn't, well, it depended on like city by city programming. And so in the past, we've seen all types of things within cities. And so depending on the participation from each city, so for example, like Buffalo, their contributions are mainly students from University at Buffalo, because that's their target audience. But for cities like Cleveland and Detroit and Toledo, they typically have other resources beyond just the university. And there has been a lot of mixing and matching when it comes to like students. So if you're a student, you can work with the non-students. You can also work as school groups with faculty members specifically. I know that some classes are putting this as part of their curriculum, and therefore like students, teams are being formed within the students of that class. But to answer the next question, do you have to be a current student to participate? No. And in fact, our winner from 2019, Thomas, is in his 80s. So you can all everyone can participate, all ages, you just have to care about the lake. The next question, so using my process, we plant special crops in the watershed, which capture N and P, nitrogen and phosphorus, while also capturing large amounts of carbon dioxide. We then harvest the crops and turn them into circular economy plastics. Is this of interest? Yes, I think absolutely. Especially since like phosphorus and nitrogen are part of the driver of harmful algal blooms. If that is like, if that technology is dealing with that issue, then it will definitely like fit in. And of course, like we're also interested in the circular economy when it comes to plastics and microplastics. We're interested in any solution that can make Lake Erie a better lake, a great lake. What are some other questions? Well, if there are no other questions, I will stick around for maybe until the 40 mark. If any questions do appear like all of a sudden. Yeah, no problem. I'm excited to see what technologies that y'all brilliant people have. Okay, so there is a question. Are the slides about what to put on the slides available to share or on a site? Yes, I will share them on Event Tornado with a few examples over the coming weeks, and look out for an email because this information session will also be sent out. Next question, will the rubric be made available, and will there be an email with the link to register for the pitch? Yes, there will be an email where registration can happen, and everything will live on that platform, Event Tornado. So the rubric is already made available. It is in the FAQs section of our website and the FAQs section of Event Tornado. How does patenting work, or is that worked out by the team? That is a great question. And I believe that is worked out by the team, and beyond just Erie Hack will have like entrepreneurial support services to help with that process if that is something you are potentially interested in. Well, awesome. Again, I'll be here for like about 5 more minutes for any last minute questions that y'all have. But thank you all for attending.